Okay, I just finished episode 12 of season 2 of Vinland Saga. Spoiler alert. This it's interesting, the pace of these shows. Again, said it a bunch of times. This is the first anime I've ever watched, and the pace of the episodes is all over the place. It makes it interesting because it keeps you guessing. You don't know what you're gonna get from one episode to the next. But this one starts off with Omar, Kettle's son, a little wimpy guy who couldn't cut up the pig. He's basically laying out on this bench, drooling on himself, feeling sorry for himself because he knew he did a terrible job at his audition for the king's army in front of Canute. So of course, Canute has plans to use him. So there's this assassin-looking dude who reminds me of Snake, but I don't think it is Snake. But he's hooded assassin-looking dude, and he sends some messengers. They have one head messenger and like 4 or 5 other guys that go with him to tell Omar that he is not going to be in the army because his performance was terrible. These guys, they're ginned up to make fun of him. They're so excited to be able to make fun of him and to tease him. So they go off, and the assassin guy stays back. And the interesting thing about the assassin guy, they show him with some coins. He's like fiddling with some coins in his hand, and he flicks one, and it kills a butterfly. Wings just, like the body gets sliced and the wings are just kind of in the air. It's crazy. So clearly he's got some crazy skills, assassin skills. He's using coins to kill, for killing or whatever. Anyway, so the guys go over, tease Omar mercilessly until Omar tries to attack one of them. So they end up dueling one another. As they're dueling one another, the guy smacks Omar around pretty good because he's a soldier and Omar's not. And then Omar basically is laying there shamed again, disgraced again. And his brother Thorgil comes over. And of course, Thorgil is this huge warrior. So Thorgil literally lifts him up off the ground, turns him around, sits him down. It's like, he pumps him up. He's like, imagine slicing his head off. Imagine going and doing this and doing that. And he pumps up Omar. So Omar shoots over there and goes after the guy. Well, just before Omar goes at him, the little assassin dude flips a coin and hits the guy in the eye that Omar's fighting. So it bloodies his eye really good, and it distracts him, and Omar slices through the neck. And this is old school Vinland Saga. This is episode 1, Askeladd and Thorfinn bloody Vinland Saga, because this episode gets very bloody. I watched a lot of it, because I don't like the blood. But anyway, he kills the guy. Guy lays down. Omar's like, oh my God, I killed the guy. So, of course, his other messengers who were with him get upset. Well, Thorgil is there. Thorgil's like, you know what, I got the rest of them. And Thorgil slices and dices these guys. And again, this is old school season 1 Vinland Saga. Fingers are getting chopped off, arms are getting chopped off, bodies getting sliced in half. It was rough to watch for me. But Thorgil takes them all out. Kettle hears the noise, comes over, and he's like, oh my God, what have you done? Kettle was freaking out because he sees his sons in this, and there's a bunch of the king's men laying around bloody. So he's, Kettle's freaking out, and Thorgil's like, look, this was a duel. It was fair. We didn't do anything wrong. So the king's men come, king's soldiers, see what happened, and go to place Kettle and Omar under arrest, and then they go after Thorgil. Thorgil's not having it, and the slicing and dicing commences, and he chops those guys up too. And so Kettle's like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you did this." And there's one guy left, and Kettle chops his arm off. Guy falls down on his knees, holding his arm minus the hand, So basically Thorgil forces him to reveal the plot of why, because he comes to him, he's like, why'd you let Omar win? Because Thorgil saw what happened. He says, why'd you let Omar win? And he ends up telling them, of course, what we already know from the last episode, that, well, at least he knew part of the plot. He knew that Canute was after Kettle, arresting Kettle. So Kettle's freaking out because the king's after him. Thorgil's excited. Thorgil reminds me of Thorkel. he's basically like, oh no, this is just getting started, and we have a powerful enemy, and he's like excited and ginned up and juiced up, very similar to how Thorkel was. So then they go to Canute and tell Canute what happened, and Canute's like, well, and what we hear is Thorgil, Canute, not Thor, I'm sorry, Thorgil, Omar, and Kettle have escaped. They left. They fled. So Canute's like, you know what? Plan's still the same. Take 102 men. I don't know why it's so exact. 32 here and 70 there. We're gonna go to the farm and take it over, basically. And those men should be enough to fight off any resistance. So he's still having the plan to confiscate lands to put more money back into the government. Then after the man he's talking to, his assistant he's talking to leaves, out pops King Swain's head, and he's giggling, and Canute's like, why are you giggling? And King Swain is like, it's cool when you see your son becoming more like you. So they have a little quick talk, and then the next thing you see is Leif Erikson sailing away, and he has put Kettle, Omar, and Thorgil in barrels and snuck them on his boat away, and that's how they escaped. And Leif's whole plan was to basically trade, helping them escape for Thorfinn's freedom. So now we're back to this storyline. It all ties in. So at some point they're going to arrange for Thorfinn to be free, according to what Thorgil promised Leif. And he also talked about paying him triple for his payload or whatever. But Omar is despondent because he's disgraced. Kettle won't get out of his barrel because he's upset. I thought he had died in the barrel or something, but apparently he's just staying in there because he's a punk. I don't know. But anyway, Thorgil basically is taking over the family at this point, seems like, and he's making all the decisions. And Leif's whole plan, of course, is to free Thorfinn. And then the episode ends with Thorfinn and Einar finishing up, a hard day's work and looking off into the sunset. Good episode, really cool tie-in to bring it back to Thorfinn at the very end. You really get to see Thorgil. You knew he was a warrior, but whoa, you get to see he's that guy. He's darn near. I don't know, those guys were so weak, so you can't say for sure, but he reminds you of Thorfinn's dad and Thorkel. Like, he's that level warrior. And Thorfinn. He seems like he's that level warrior. Because he whipped those guys with ease, like they had no shot at him. Nobody laid a finger on him. He's a pretty vicious guy. So we got to see that. I don't know if say Kettle is a coward or if he just understands the gravity of the situation and he's frustrated and upset and scared. But you better be glad Thorgil's on his side, because I don't know what he would be doing if not. The episode wrapped up kind of nicely. It's going to be interesting to see where Leif takes them, how they end up coming back, and how it ends up that they end up trying to get at Thorfinn to bring him back, for Leif to bring him back, and how that's going to run smack into the 102 soldiers that are on the land to confiscate the land from Kettle by Canute. So it's very interesting episode, very good episode. Return to the blood, which I could have done without, but it was necessary. And ready for episode 13.